All right, welcome back. This is MDawg, and we have some exciting news today. If you are familiar with Hunter Call the Wild or Hunter Classic, Expansive Worlds has announced that they're going to be making a new fishing game called the Wild, the Angler, as you see here on Steam. In a minute, we're going to watch the trailer, the reveal trailer that they've released. As far as I can tell, we don't have a lot of information. After we watch the trailer, we'll briefly read through this together just so that we can kind of talk about what we do know. Just to get it out of the way, I don't see any information about a release date. In fact, if you go to Expansive Worlds website, I don't even see the announcement on their website. So, there's just no telling what this means in terms of when it's coming. But it's interesting because if you remember, if you do play either of the Hunter games, I think it was actually attached to Call of the Wild a couple of years ago. I remember it was a big deal because there was a survey where they asked Call of the Wild players, would you be interested in in a fishing game done by the Call of the Wild folks? And I don't remember if the survey specifically said this or if it was sort of implied or talked about afterwards, but there was some discussion about would this be incorporated into the existing Hunter Call the Wild, or would this be a separate game? Well, it looks like we have our answer. It's going to be a separate game. And that survey way back when looks like it was legitimately pointing to a game that was being either maybe developed already or thought about at that time. And since that time, I've certainly heard some rumor about something with, the Hunter Call the Wild folks doing this. I'm really excited, and I'm excited to watch this trailer with you. I haven't seen the trailer yet, so let's go ahead and pull up the trailer, and I will make it so that you can see the entire trailer, and then again, we'll talk briefly afterwards about what's listed currently on the Steam page in terms of features and all.
What is it about your hobby that keeps you coming all the way out here? Is it the freedom? Wandering in search of that perfect spot? You've made your own path through these hills. Tasted the fresh water of our lakes, our rivers. You've been on the water with friends at sunrise and helped the locals long past sunset. But you just keep coming back. At this spot, you got a pretty good idea what's lurking beneath the surface. But there's only one way to find out. Whether it's the one you write home about or the one that gets away, that feeling is what gets you hooked. That whether it's your first time or your 100th time, you never know what you're gonna catch until it's caught. Call of the Wild, the Angler.
Okay, so let's talk about this. A lot stood out to me, even just in the trailer there. We have talk about it being open world, and when I think about Call of the Wild or this potentially using a similar engine or the same engine that they use in Call of the Wild, I do think that it could, compared to current fishing games we have, it could feel much more like an open world experience. If you've played Hunter Call of the Wild, you know that a lot of it is exploring this full, massive map, right? And doing little sort of missions. I'm referring to the hunting game. Doing little missions as you unlock the map. It tells a little bit of a narrative. I could see them doing a similar system here, although not necessarily. The trailer talked about playing fishing with friends. So it will be interesting to see how does that play into this. Again, in their hunting game, you can join up in public groups or groups with just your friends. You actually can see each other. So again, some things that might differentiate itself, at least from Russian Fishing 4, which is the game that I play the most in terms of fishing games. It talked about from sun up to sundown, so obviously there's going to be time. You would expect there would be weather. In Hunter Call of the Wild, there's already both maps in Europe, maps in North America. We potentially could have fishing spots all over the world as they release maps for Call of the Wild, the Angler. All we saw in the trailer, at least that I noticed, was what appeared to be spin fishing. This is the one. Those were definitely spin fishing. Obviously, that's a predator fish, a pike, northern pike, it looks like. So will they also embrace float fishing, and for me, more importantly, bottom fishing? Based on the part of the world that, some of their maps and stuff take place, you would think that they would embrace bottom fishing, but this trailer did not make that obvious. There's a small fish that you could see that being more something you would catch on float, but who knows? Looks like some sort of sunfish or something. And that's the one that is a little interesting to me. Maybe he's slowly jigging it or something, but that's not your typical, like, reeling it in. It does look like, it could be a spin fishing setup. I just don't know. But anyway, the trailer was beautiful. Of course, again, if they're using that engine, I think the maps potentially are going to be just gorgeous. There you see somebody walking. In several of the scenes where you actually see somebody fishing, you see different gloves and clothes, which is also a part of Hunter Call of the Wild. So that could be an interesting aspect to the game is actually changing not only the basics of what your character looks like, but the clothes and stuff that you can manipulate as well. So lots to be excited here. There were some shots obviously on a boat, so that'll be a part of it. I'm really curious to kind of see what direction they go with this, but it looks really promising to me. It's a company that I trust. Their games are great, going back to even Hunter Classic. They've also expanded and done some other games as well. You can see I've got so much of the Hunter content. I enjoy playing it. I thought they had didn't they come out with a shooter or something? It was just a little different. It's not in this list, but I'm pretty sure they did have a different. I was trying to look on. I think I have their website pulled up. Oh, Avalanche is a part of their. I got you. So they have different studios within the same company. So like Second Extinction, Generation Zero is what I was thinking of. I think it's the same company, but it may be Expansive Worlds specifically that works on the hunting games, and now apparently this fishing game. So very exciting. Let's see just a little bit of what they feature in this first write-up here on Steam, and then we will wrap this up. Okay, a genre-defying fishing experience, vast and atmospheric open world in search of the perfect fishing spot. Ride the open waters alone or with friends and embark on your journey to become a master angler. So again, some of the things that was implied in the trailer really just summarized there in that opening paragraph. The world of Call of the Wild, the Angler, is filled with spectacular fishing spots and breathtaking environments, which can be explored on foot, by off-road vehicle, or by boat across a vast network of waterways. Traverse the living, breathing world at your own pace and discover winding rivers, majestic alpine peaks, turquoise-colored springs, epic hiking trails, and hidden ponds. Journey past charming outposts and soaring lookout towers as you head out for a relaxing night of fishing on the lake, or beat the sunrise for a shot at hooking that one elusive catch. Of course, they do have a rating system for the animals that you hunt in their game, so I think they would have something similar rating the fish you would catch. I did notice the watchtower in the trailer. That's something, again, that's sort of a part of the hunting. You usually have quests to go discover the watchtowers, but the watchtower will open up more of the map in that area once you discover it. Whether you're battling the fierce largemouth bass, so North America, or the hard-fighting mountain whitefish, or intuitive casting system in Call of the Wild, the angler provides an engaging and immersive fishing experience. Each species has its own unique behavior and traits and will require you to counter their movements as you reel them in. So that sounds like they're going to really focus in on successfully catching a fish will be reacting to what they're doing, which I think even if you think about Fishing Planet or fishing or Russian Fishing 4 or whatever fishing game you're familiar with, that's often the case. It's sort of implied that, like you don't want to let slack be in. So if they start pulling a certain way, you sort of have to adjust. But the way they word this here, I wonder if this is going to be even more targeting that aspect of fishing, combined with a system that realistically simulates water temps, depths, altitude, and more when determining where fish populations will be. Every catch becomes a lasting memory. That's pretty cool. Become a master angler. Learn and master distinct fishing techniques. So different techniques, that's good. We're going to have fly fishing. But certainly I would think, spin fishing, float, and feeder, but we'll see. Adapt your strategy to land the most impressive catches. Use a wide range of rods. Customize them, so not only yourself, but the rods potentially. With a continuously growing selection of reels, lines, floats, hooks, lures, and baits. So they're talking about customizing based on what you have on the rod, not necessarily what the rod looks like, potentially. I don't know. Build your collection of equipment and gear and take on the biggest fishing challenges. Your road to mastery begins now. So we see a catfish, rainbow trout, some sort of whitefish, northern pike, perch. I'm not sure. So again, different species. It looks like even from the start, they're going to have different locations, international locations based on where you live necessarily. But all right, play solo or with friends. Ride the open waters alone or seamlessly join friends and others in multiplayer to experience fishing in exciting new ways. Explore the open world, meet fellow anglers, and go on unforgettable adventures together. That sounds really cool. Ever-evolving adventure. Call of the Wild, the Angler will continue to grow and evolve with regularly released free and paid content. Keep coming back for new fishing experiences and memorable catches. So some of you I know have a preference on sort of what the payment model looks like. My guess from the previous work this company has done is we will have a game that you pay for up front. I would not think that it would be free to play. I think you would pay for it up front, and that there will, like they're saying, will be a combination of updates that affect everyone and then also specific DLC that you would pay for. One good thing I will say about this company is that their DLC, to me, tends to be very fairly priced, if not even a little bit on the inexpensive side. So if that continues, that is certainly good news. And I think that's all the info we have. Even if you go into the discussions currently on Steam, there's not a lot of info there. There's questions, but not answers. So that's pretty much what we know. I will just say that I am very excited. I always, even though I tend to play RF4, Russian Fishing 4 the most, I really enjoy the variety of having different fishing games to both cover as a content creator, but also just to play and enjoy and see what another company's take on the fishing simulation genre might look like. So anyway, hopefully this has been entertaining for you. Some of you may have already had this on your radar, but when I saw this released announcement, I wanted to take a few minutes and just sort of give my first impressions to you and along with you. I look forward to seeing your comments in chat. Are you excited, optimistic? I don't think, there's other fishing games that have released in the past couple of years that, because of those companies' history with fishing games and other situations, I was much more guarded and even pessimistic in some cases. Until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to be optimistic about this. Until I see gameplay or hear something or experience something that lowers that level of expectation, I'm coming in thinking this is probably going to be pretty solid and pretty fun to experience. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Tight lines, everybody.